What if the most intimate betrayal is not the absence of love, but its perfect counterfeit? What you called love was not love. It was a silent transaction. Your light, offered in the name of connection, became a currency for someone else's hunger. And the most devastating part is that you volunteered for this. You called it devotion. You called it sacrifice. You called it the depth of your feeling. But in the hidden language of the psyche, it had another name, a surrender of sovereignty. This is the empath's crucifixion, to discover that the very altar upon you laid your heart was not sacred but strategic. The tenderness was a hook. The depth a trap. The understanding you felt was not a meeting of souls, but a mirror held up by a void, reflecting only what it needed to survive. And you, in your boundless willingness to feel, became the custodian of a ghost. You fed a hunger that could never be satisfied because it was not for you. It was for the illusion you provided. This realization does not come as a thought. It arrives as a rupture in your emotional reality. A slow, psychic hemorrhage where every cherished memory begins to leak its true meaning. The moments of profound connection now taste of manipulation. The words of adoration echo with covert demand. The bond you thought was woven with golden thread was, in truth, a fine, almost invisible chain. And you feel it first not in your mind but in your body, a collapse of inner structure as if the archetype of love itself has revealed its shadow face, and it is the face of a devouring God. This is the necessary shattering. The dismantling of the empath's core fantasy. That goodness is protection, that depth guarantees reciprocity, that if you love deeply enough, you can heal the brokenness in another. The narcissist, your dark counterpart, existed to annihilate this fantasy. Not out of malice but by the ruthless logic of the unconscious. They are an archetypal force, a living symbol of the hunger that seeks not union but consumption. They are the shadow of the very love you sought to embody. You see, the dance between the empath and the narcissist is not a mistake. It is an ancient, psychic ritual. One soul externalizes its hunger for control, the other, its longing for redemption through service. You were drawn together by a magnetic pull of complementary wounds. Your empathy became the stage for their performance of self. Your compassion, the mirror for a reflection they could not find within. And you mistook this dynamic for destiny. You called it a tragic, profound love when it was, in truth, a possession. The first awakening is not to the nature of the other, but to the nature of your own offering. You must see that your empathy, untethered from self-awareness, was not a gift but a leak. A leakage of your own life force into the bottomless well of another's unconsciousness. You were not loving. You were feeding. And in that recognition lies a humiliation so profound it can either destroy you or initiate you into your true power. This is the storm. And in its eye, a terrible silence descends. The stories you told yourself about love, sacrifice, and healing fall away. What is left is the raw, unadorned truth of the dynamic, control disguised as devotion. This truth is not cruel. It is sacred. It is the scalpel that cuts the psychic cord. For the moment you name the manipulation, you cease to be its unconscious participant. You become dangerous, not to them but to the pattern itself. The narcissist fears nothing more than this, an empath who has stopped dreaming, who sees the mechanism behind the magic. When you withdraw your projection, when you cease to see them as the god or the monster and see instead the wounded child trapped in an archetype, their spell breaks. Your composure becomes a mirror that reflects back to them not the adored fantasy, but the emptiness they have spent a lifetime running from. And they will rage or vanish or rewrite history, because your awareness has become an existential threat to their fabricated world. But this is not about them. This is the birth of your individuation. The death of your need to be needed. The death of your identity as the healer. The death of the fantasy that love means dissolution of self. These deaths are agonizing, for they strip the ego of its most cherished roles. Yet through this dark night, something essential is being born, the unshakable, self-illuminated core of you. The part that does not need to be reflected to know it exists. The pain you feel is not a sign of failure, but of purification. It is the burning away of everything in you that confused compassion with self-erasure, that mistook intensity for intimacy, that believed boundaries were barriers to love. What is being demanded of you now is not to love less, but to love with conscious choice. To turn that immense empathy inward, and finally listen to the part of you that you have been saving others to avoid. This is the turning point. The archetype of the wounded healer must now integrate its shadow, the martyr. You must see how your endless giving was, in part, a covert strategy, a way to earn love, to secure your worth, to control the emotional field through goodness. This is the humbling revelation. The manipulator outside was merely mirroring the hidden manipulator within. Their overt control exposed your covert control. Their hunger reflected your own starvation. To heal is not to vilify the other, but to reclaim these disowned parts. The narcissist embodied your unlived power, your repressed anger, your exiled authority. You were drawn to their intensity because it carried the energy you had forbidden yourself to own. Their arrogance mirrored your hidden pride. Their demand for worship echoed your secret need to be seen as saintly. This is the alchemical secret. What you most despise in them holds the key to what you have denied in yourself. The relationship was never about them. It was a dramatic enactment of your inner split. A sacred, if brutal, theater where your psyche staged the conflict between your longing for fusion and your need for autonomy. The narcissist was the actor playing the role of the devouring parent. You were the actor playing the sacrificial child. And the script was written by your unconscious, yearning for wholeness. Now the play is over. The curtain has fallen. You are left alone on the stage of your own soul. This solitude is not emptiness. It is the womb. The quiet, terrifying space where your true self, no longer defined by its reflection in another, can finally take form. Do not rush to fill this void. This is where you learn the sound of your own essence. The voice that does not flatter or blame but simply sees. The voice that says, "You are not here to be drained. You are here to be divine." The journey now turns inward. You will meet your inner figures. The child who learned love was conditional, the martyr who believed worth was earned through suffering, the healer who confused fixing with loving. Embrace them. These are not your enemies. They are the fragmented guardians of your truth, waiting to be integrated. As you do this, your energy ceases to leak. It circulates within a contained sun. Your empathy matures into discernment. You feel the difference between resonance and invasion instantly. You sense the pull of old patterns, but now you have the awareness to choose differently. This is psychological sovereignty. The birth of the inner marriage, where your protective masculine and creative feminine forces unite in harmony, no longer at war. You will begin to dream differently. No more cages, chases, or locked doors. Now you dream of open landscapes, bridges, temples of light. The unconscious is showing you what you have become, a being of integrated light. You are no longer drawn to chaos disguised as passion. You find depth in calm, connection and authenticity. Love, when it knocks again, will feel not like a hurricane, but like a sunrise, quiet, steady, revealing. It will not complete you. It will meet you in your wholeness. The narcissist was the unwitting midwife of this rebirth. The dark teacher sent by your own soul to force you to grow the boundaries you never knew you needed. Through their control, you learned the cost of your compliance. Through their illusion, you learned the value of your truth. Bless them and release them. Their role in your drama is complete. What you are living is not a recovery. It is an initiation. You are not merely healing a broken heart. You are awakening from the collective illusion of love as possession. You are stepping into the archetype of the conscious lover. One who loves from a fullness that cannot be depleted, who sees without absorbing, who gives without losing self. You are becoming what you once sought. The union of awareness and love. This is your sacred purpose. Not to heal the world, but to embody wholeness within it. Your presence, rooted and radiant, will now remind others of the light they have forgotten in themselves. This is the true alchemy. You have transmuted the lead of betrayal into the gold of consciousness. So when you remember the past, let it be with a quiet reverence. Every wound was a whisper from your soul, calling you home to your own center. You have walked through the labyrinth of another's illusion and emerged, holding the golden thread of your own awareness. You are no longer asleep in your divinity. You are awake. And this awakening is eternal.